Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today I'm excited to let you know about a new core tackle release, and this is probably a specialty release. Maybe we'll do this once a year. It is not a simple thing to produce, but it's something that I basically made for myself. If you watch the channel on a regular basis, in fact, if you're one of my old school members or somebody that's been watching since I started doing videos 4 or 5 years ago, you probably saw me do a video about how to make these. And I was been making these for a long time for myself, and it's something that I feel like really does put a lot of fish in the boat, and it is has to do with this guy right here. So this is a marabou jig, something that we tie up in the North Country. That is an amazing smallmouth producer, but it's a very good producer all around the country for both largemouth and spotted bass as well. So I've done videos about tying these guys and how good they are. The problem is there are a lot of nuances to a marabou hair jig. The number one thing is you generally tie it on a very light head. So I'm talking a 32nd of an ounce, a 16th of an ounce. A heavy one is an 1/8 ounce. And the problem with that is a lot of times you can't cast them very well. So you can't get them a long distance. If there's a relatively stiff breeze, there's so much bow in your line that your hair jig just gets blown literally out of position. Uh, and it just can be a difficult bait to use, meaning if you can't cast it a long distance, a lot of times you're on top of the fish before you can get a bait in front of them, because this technique does really excel in your clear water situation. So you want to reach those fish that are a long distance away from the boat. If you can get your bait in front of the fish, though, you're going to probably generate some strikes, because a marabou hair jig is absolutely phenomenal for that presentation. The other big thing with it, though, is it's hard to fish it very deep at all because you've got such a light jig. So generally you're fishing it, I'm going to say, in 10 foot of water or less. And the whole key with it is you want to get it as close to the bottom without touching the bottom. So you want to hover it, I'd say maybe a foot off the bottom. Very, very slow presentation. You're almost tight lining it, just letting your bait just flow through the water column. And when that happens, your marabou will condense and it just flows like a leech or like a minnow. Very enticing to most game fish. You know, we know how good a marabou jig is for crappie, walleye, bass, pretty much everything. Even in the musky world now, they're tying big bucktails with marabou hair. But for as good as it is a very, very difficult bait to use for the reasons that I just mentioned. Well, years ago, what I started doing to get this down much deeper and to fish it on windy days is I started tying these guys, which is what I call the hair shot. So it's marabou that we've tied so that you can fish on a drop shot rig. So you can see I've got a drop shot rig, but it's a marabou drop shot rig that we finally came out with at Core Tackle, and we're calling it the hair shot. The whole idea here is now you can take this presentation and fish it in those places where a traditional hair jig, a traditional marabou, does not work well. So what I mean by that is, if you want to make a long cast, drop shot, you can fire pretty much as far as you want. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of special equipment, meaning, you know, there's guys that are going out there building specific hair jig rods that are super long, super whippy to help you throw it a long distance. Well, you don't need it now because of this. At the same time, if you want to keep your bait right off the bottom, there's no better way to do it than on a drop shot. You throw it out, you keep your line tight, and you can literally fish it however you want, as slow or as fast, and you'll keep your bait off of the bottom right in the strike zone that you're looking for. And then last but not least, when you're fishing and you've got a little bit of a wind, and you with a normal hair jig, that bow in your line will literally pull your bait in a different direction. You don't run into that now with a drop shot. So from that standpoint, this solves so many issues that I've had with hair jigs. The other thing that I love about it is I can now present a hair jig presentation as deep as I want. If I want to fish it into 50 feet of water, I can fish it down into 50 feet of water. So we've had these all hand tied up by a local Wisconsin fly tire. They're on a Gamakatsu drop shot hook, so they're laser sharp little drop shot hooks. Just a great presentation. We sell them in 2-packs, and we've got them in black, we've got them in purple, we've got them in brown, kind of a dirty brown color, and then last but not least, if you're a spotted bass fisherman, we've got them in your white. Now, all of these work extremely well. My personal favorites for smallmouth are your black and your purple. For largemouth, the brown has been really good, as well as the white, and the white has been extremely good for spotted bass. So let me tell you a little bit more about these in terms of what we're doing. So we've actually had these made up for a while ago. We did not release them until now. We don't have that many of them. And when I say not that many, I expect these to be gone probably within a couple of weeks. Like, they're just not easy to make. They're not something that we're probably going to issue or hold in our full catalog. They're probably just going to be a website exclusive. If they sell well this time around, we'll probably try to have more tied, which will be ready for next spring. Like, that's how time intensive they are. It's just not going to be like a big item that we're going to offer to the retailers. Not going to offer them really to any place. They're going to be a website special. And when they're gone for right now. I'm hoping that we'll bring them back. More than anything, guys, this is something that I've done forever. I wanted these for myself. That's basically what it comes down to. You know, when I went to Johnny and said, this is something that I want to make, he kind of was like, well, I don't throw a hair jig. I've never really thrown a marabou hair jig. And since then, I know he's caught a bunch of fish on it, but it really is a pet project. That's what it's going to come down to. So if you want some, go check them out on the website. Hopefully you're watching this video soon, because I have a feeling they're going to be gone very, very quickly as well. We're calling it the Core Tackle Hair Shot. I don't know, maybe if you guys like it well enough, maybe we'll try to keep them in stock on somewhat of a regular basis. But right now, this is what we got, and we don't have many of them. So if you want them, go to the website and pick them up now. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll link, do I have a hair jig fishing video? I'll link a hair jig fishing video at the end of this so that you guys can see it. And stay tuned. We'll have a new one coming out tomorrow for you.